But that's a waste.
Hey, John. Okay, gonna solve this again, all right? So don't get your head all locked around it. We're gonna go nice and slow, okay? So looking at these three numbers, the common denominator that pops out at me is 3. And just right off the bat, I think it would be easier to not have this negative here. So I'm gonna pull a negative 3d out. That's my greatest common factor. And then what I have left when I divide 15d cubed by negative 3d, I have a positive, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And that makes that positive 5d squared. Okay, now positive 21d squared divided by negative 3d is going to be negative 7d. All right, we went from d to d squared to d because we pulled out a d. Now we have negative 6d divided by negative 3d. That's going to be a positive because a negative divided by a negative is a positive 2. Now we're doing factoring, so we're going to break this down into 2 sets of parentheses. Just forget about this guy for now, but I'm going to bring him down, but just don't even worry about him. Now we have a d squared, so I know the first thing that I multiply when I'm using FOIL is the first terms. So the first terms is going to be a d here and a d there, because we know we want to get a d squared. We're going to try to rewrite this in these 2 parentheses. Well, when you just have a d, you assume that that's just 1. And that's 1, but we're going to put a 5 here so that 5d times d is 5d squared. I'm almost done. So you've got that. That's your first terms. The outside terms are going to be this one. Let's see, I'm sorry. It's going to be, okay, so 5d. Now we're working here. Let's ignore this for the time being. This number 2, we know that whatever is here and whatever is here, when we multiply those, it's going to equal positive 2. We also know that there's a negative over here. So we're going to have 2 negatives so that when they add together, we'll do this, 2 and 1, that it's going to be negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. All right? So from there, we can check this because we're curious as to why when we add these 2 things, why don't they add up to 7? I think the real kicker is in that whenever you have a 5 or a number in front of the letter here, the variable, it kind of skews things. So I'm going to actually do FOIL for these 2 parentheses to check it and make sure that I end up with what I had up here, okay? So now we have the first ones are 5d and d, so that's 5d squared. All right, the outside ones are 5d and negative 1, which is going to be negative 5d. The inside ones are these, which is negative 2d. And then negative 2 and negative 1 equal positive 2. When I combine these, I get 5d squared again. Negative 5d minus negative 2d is negative 7d plus 2, because these combine. And look what we have here. We have exactly what we wanted to right here. So this FOIL process is only used, it's not solving the problem, it's just checking. This is your solution. This is just how we make sure that what we did up here was correct. So the answer is negative 3d, and in parentheses, 5d minus 2, parentheses, d minus 1. The end. I hope that makes sense. Bye. Have a good weekend.